Hello and welcome to another video. This time we're going to be looking at reading joysticks. Again, you'll only need the usual tools of a text editor and the assembler. First, let's take a look at what I've got put together. I've got an Agon Console 8 here, and I've got two joysticks. These happen to be Sega joypads, but any standard Atari joystick should work. And on the screen we can see that we're using two different ports to read the data, port C and port D. Port C contains all the directional information for the joysticks. Bits 0 and 1 contain the up joystick positions for either joystick 2 or joystick 1. Port D contains the button presses. Bits 0 to 3 are not used, they're used internally by the Z80, but we have access to bits 4 through to 7. So if I pick up the joystick number 1 and I move the keypad right, we can see that port C bit 7 changes. Similarly, if I go left, bit 5 changes. Up and down. And if I press button number 1, you can see that I've made some specific code to read that button. Button number 2, if we look at port D, bit number 7 is changing every time I press it. If I move on to the second joypad, again the direction buttons change one bit within the port C data. And again the buttons change one bit within the port D that we read. So let's look at how we achieve that. In our code we've got the usual setup at the beginning and showing the title. Well, the title in this case is the information that we presented on screen. And we go through a main loop, again checking whether we've pressed the escape key to exit. But also now we're going to check the joystick. One of the things we need to do first is clear the flags, otherwise it may not work. We then bring in A from port C. Port C I've defined just down here, they do have particular values applied to them. And then I'm printing a binary version of the number we read from port C. I've included a new print binary routine within our debug file. Similarly, I'm checking port D and printing that to the display. But down here, this is more likely the code that you'll be using. For instance, to check if someone's moved left or right to control a character on the screen. I check port D, I load A with the data from the port, and I check whether a bit is set. And then we keep going round that loop again and again until we exit. So if you want to connect joysticks to your Console 8 or even your Agon Lite, these are the ports that you need to read to get that information. You'll notice also, if we move diagonally, that more than one bit might be reset. So you can read both at the same time if you wish.